Hello, everyone. Welcome to Immigration and Jobs Talk Show. I am Vasa, and I'm very happy to welcome you to the Immigration Shows. Yes, this every day, Monday to Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, we have daily immigration shows, and this is where you can all join us, for a conversation. And I'm really very happy today because I'm here to co-host with Sam.
Control
So,
here, control here,
hi.
control here. Audio problem.
Yeah, I think Napasa, you are having some audio issues, but that's okay. You can take your time. And to our lovely audience, once again, guys, welcome back to Immigration and Jobs Talk Show. I'm Sam, your host, and today we are back again with another very exciting episode of Daily Immigration Dose that is streaming live at 4 p.m. EST. And before moving ahead to our topic, I would like to read out this very important disclaimer. That is, by watching our videos, you understand that the information shared, including user comments, is not professional advice. Use at your own risk. Our intention is never to offend, it's just a casual exchange of idea. All right, once again, guys, welcome back, everyone. And I'm also here with my co host, Nepasa. And I'm still grateful for her that she is joining me again and to have a wonderful discussion. So, Nepasa, how are you doing?
Absolutely. It's always great to be here and co host with you, Sam. So, absolutely amazing today as well. Thank you. And, to discuss a topic that's creating waves in Indian community as well. Today, we're going to
Yeah.
talk about Canada's new immigration rules. And, the recent changes are being called like a tough blow. So, I think we are here to discuss that. And I'm looking forward for today's discussion, Sam.
Absolutely. And I think before diving into this topic, let's have a quick understanding of all the news updates that's happening around the world. So, friends, my first news would be of US Visa Bulletin. So, there are some changes to US Visa Bulletin in December 2024. The US has updated the Visa Bulletin with important shifts in family sponsored and employment based preferences. For example, priority date for F1, that is, unmarried sons and daughters of US citizens, visas have moved up. While other categories such as EB2, professionals with advanced degrees, show mixed trends for countries like India. So don't forget to go and check out the uscis.gov website for more information. Moving ahead with my next news update, that is UK. So, UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer has announced plans to overhaul the immigration system in response to rising net migration figures, which showed that about 930,000 people arrived in the UK in the year ending June 2023. So, this move aims to address the concerns of businesses and citizens that are regarding immigration numbers. Canada's Immigration Minister Mark Miller has discussed new measures to curb immigration to address housing affordability and job competition. So these changes are expected to have a significant impact on migrants, particularly those from India, as the country faces growing concerns over rising demand for housing specifically. US H 1B visa changes. So the US has seen a sharp decline in duplicate H 1B visa lottery registrations following the process revamp. And the changes aim to streamline the application process and reduce fraud. All right, so these were the news updates that was from my side. Moving ahead, I think with Nepasa. Nepasa, please go ahead and share the following news updates with our viewers. Yeah, I think there is still some audio issues from your side, so I think that needs to be looked upon. But that's okay, friends. Till the time Nepasa is looking ahead, I think we shouldn't stop with our today's discussion. And today we have a very interesting topic, that is Canada's new immigration rules, a tough blow for thousands of Indian immigrants. So, before talking about this topic and before delving into the details of this topic, friends, you all are welcome to join us on this episode with us. Either you want to call us, if you want to call us, then please dial this number that is visible on the screen. That is 425 4366335 with the access code that is 9 and 5 times 8. And you can also join us on this stream with the link that is being provided on the comment section soon. So please go ahead and click on that link, and you're free to share your information, share your experience, or any topic about immigration or anything that you would like to let other people know about it. So yeah, I think that's it from about today's introduction, and now I would like to talk about today's topic. So, friends, we all know that Canada has long been a very popular destination for immigrants and obviously for India. So, if anyone from India is seeking about how to go to outside the nation, to settle, then first country that comes in their mind is Canada for sure, because Canada seeks a very great career opportunities and a high quality of life. And as of 2024, if we see, then the Indian population in Canada is estimated to be around 1.9 million. And that's huge. That makes up approximately 5.2% of the total Canadian population. So we can see that how much Canada is popular among India and Indian immigrants. But here's the thing, that Canada is very popular for immigrants, and obviously because of its welcoming policies and thriving opportunities in education and employment. But due to some reason, in 2024, this marks a big turning point because the Canadian government has introduced some new immigration rules that may impact, or I would say that have a significant impact on the future of Indian immigrants. So, recent changes are there that we are going to discuss in today's episode to Canada's immigrants and to how it's going to impact the Indian immigrants specifically. So we can see that it's clear that the road to Canada just got a little more challenging. But if you will understand each and every rule thoroughly, then that will help you in getting your way around the changes and figure out the next steps as well. So for many people, those who are dreaming of a new life in Canada will need to be adjusted, and but with the right planning, they can still work towards their goals. And today we are going to discuss about all the policies that is being implemented in 2024 and what are the reasons behind those implementation of those policies, and ultimately how it is going to impact the Indian immigrants. We are going to discuss these three major topics in today's episode. So I think without any further ado, we should begin with our today's very first thing. And that I would like to continue with my very first topic, that is Canada's new immigration rules. So, friends, we should talk about what is the first immigration rule that has been implemented by Canada. That is reduction in permanent resident targets. So, this is a new rule that has been implemented. And starting in 2025, Canada will reduce its permanent resident intake. That is dropping from previous targets of 500,000 to 395,000 in 2025. So we can see a huge change, a huge number of difference between how it was before 2024 and how it's going to be in 2025. And further down, even it is also predicted that in 2026, the number is going to reduce more. That is 380,000. So I think there's a huge difference of number that we can see, and this reduction also comes in responses to growing concerns over housing shortages and pressure on social services. There are major reasons that why these are happening that we are going to cover in our video as well. But these have been, in a very high immigration numbers in recent years. And by 2027 also, we can see that the target may fall around 365,000 only immigrants to be allowed. And moving ahead with our next rule, I would like to ask from Napasa. Napasa, please go ahead and share with our viewers about the second rule that has been implemented by, or Canada's immigrant officers are trying to bring up in front of everyone.
Thank you so much, Sam, and I hope that my audio is better. I'm so sorry about some technical issues I have been facing, but I do hope that it's better. And yes, so coming to the points, another thing is temporary resident reductions, for international students and workers. So, Canada is also aiming to reduce its temporary resident population by nearly 500,000 per year over the next few years. So this includes international students who make up a large portion of Indian immigrants, and the government has introduced caps on student visas and stricter eligibility for work permits tied to international students and their spouses. So Canada plans to reduce, the number of temporary residents through several measures, and they're trying all means to do this, and this is going to really affect many international students, especially those from India. So capping international students' visa, this will limit how many study permits are issued, which will likely impact Indian students since they make up over 40% of the international students in Canada. So you can only imagine how huge, how large a number of population that is. And Indian students will face more competition for study permits. Another thing is tougher work permit rules. Canada will set stricter eligibility criteria for post graduation work permits, that is PGWP, and work permits for the spouses of international students. These changes will make it harder for temporary residents to stay in Canada long term. And of course, Indian students, as a result, will have fewer chances to stay and build their careers in Canada after their studies, disrupting the plan of many who hoped really to settle here. And I see, especially after all these news and what is going on, the current situation in Canada, I think Indians are really planning not to opt for Canada and trying to look out for other options. Sam, you can follow with the others.
Yeah, but Napasa, I think obviously the second immigration rule that we understood it's about temporary resident reductions. So, but Napasa, I would also like to ask from you that the rule this has been implemented and they are planning to make Canada better. So, do you think that if there will be a tougher work permit rules or if there will be capping international student visas, do you think that these things or these restrictions these limitations are going to make Canada a better one, a better nation, or is it going to reduce the nation?
Well, can't say much about that because I mean we are talking about students here, and of course, like it's really affecting Indians because they had plans and they still have a lot of plans. But uh, this all these rules they are making it stricter, and the scrutiny is going to be higher, making it tougher for them, and they are going to make them give up trying to go to Canada. I think that is what I see. So they're trying to make the situation so hard that they give up on their dream of going to Canada for, further studies.
Right, right. That's correct. And in fact, Indian students, they have now, I think after these rules, they will have a very less chance or fewer chance, to stay and build careers or even to think to build career in Canada after their studies. I think this is going to disrupt their plans of many who actually hope to settle there. But anyways, I think we should move ahead with our next immigration rule that is being implemented. So next is economic class, immigration and skill prioritization. So, in this, what Canada is planning, Canada plans to reduce the overall number of people accepted for permanent residency, but it's also going to focus more on economic immigrants, specifically high skilled workers in areas like healthcare, constructions, and technology as well. So by 2027, it is being predicted that nearly 62% of permanent residents will come from the economic class. Now, I think this economic class immigrants are a topic of discussion. So, Nepasa, now I would like to ask from you that till the time I shared my information about what Canada is planning to, it's focusing more on economic immigrants. That means now Canada is going to welcome more high skilled workers rather than random immigrants. So, do you think that this see, obviously, if you're going to invite or if you're going to welcome more highly skilled workers, this is going to benefit. But what about those who are mediocre, or those who were, those who were just trying on a level? Is it necessary? Like, what do you think, that how is it going to impact Canada on this thing?
Well, I think for everyone, I think they'll have to up their game. They have to be trier. They have to try to be better
Yeah.
on whatever they are, whichever profession they belong to, whichever walk of life. And
Mhm.
I think this could be good news because bringing in, um, I mean, high skilled
It
workers
will be a
is
little
going to definitely
challenging.
benefit.
Yeah,
Yes.
it will be a little
Oh, of
challenging.
course, and I mean, you don't just talk about Canada, but everywhere, there is competition, and I think it has become like a part and parcel of everyone's life that they have to try to perform better. I mean, the competition is not just with the world, but with yourself also. You have to be better than you were, right? So upping the game is always, I mean, it has to be there. So I don't think it's a bad thing. It's a good thing, I think.
It is a good thing, but I still, I still wonder that already the people, specifically the Indian immigrants, those who were trying their level hard to go and shift in Canada and to study, that's a very challenging, for anyone to leave their country, to leave their nation's culture and everything, and then to move ahead and have a very different life in another country. And now those were the restrictions that they already used to feel, and now those are like adding on. So adding on restrictions, now they have to have, I think they'll feel more pressurized. They'll be more challenges, they will feel more struggling, so I think there are a lot of reasons that, and a lot of issues that they might face. But also, Napas, I would like to ask from you that what are your point of view in this, that what about the mental pressure, or what about the mental problems that they might face? Do you think it's okay to be on this thing and just to I mean, ignore their mental stress and work on their work? Do you think it's worth it? Should they go with it?
I think mental health is very important. I mean, here or anywhere in the world, wherever you may be, it's very important to feel uh, okay. I know we all feel stressed, and there's so much to stress about nowadays, whether it is, I mean, of course, if you're a student, it's about your career, it's about your exams, and then comes work if you're a student, and even otherwise, you have relationship problems, financial problems, you have family problems. There's so much to stress about. And for all of that and to be able to function well, you have to take care of yourself, and for that I think you'll have to do good for yourself, and maybe physical activities, socializing, and doing things that are good for you. These are things which are very important, so I don't think we can ignore that in any level, no matter whatever age you are in. And nowadays, depression has become so common. I mean, people, even young people, get so depressed, and there are so many reasons, whether it's maybe their parents scolded them, or so many things, could really affect mental health. So I think it is always mental health is first. I mean, health is first. Health first. Without health, there's nothing. So for everyone out there, we should always prioritize our health, and after that comes everything. After that follows everything.
Right, right, and that's how it should be. I mean, only for the sake of working and giving up everything. I think that, of course, that should be a goal. But instead of that, you should also prioritize your health, because that's also very important. So anyway, yeah, we were talking about economic class immigrants, and that is one of the part that we already covered. Moving ahead, I would also like to say that the government is trying to giving prioritize to those who are already in Canada, such as skilled workers or students, because they have already adapted to Canadian life. So they might be, contributing to economy and make Canada uh, wealthy. They'll give a good contribution in that. So this means that temporary residents who have worked or studied in Canada will have a better chance of staying permanently. And as I also mentioned, that there are very few chance, but still, fewer people will be allowed into Canada on temporary permits. fewer people, especially from India. So they will also have the opportunity to enter the country through these programs in the first place. So yeah, I think now Napasa, please go ahead and share with our viewers the another rule.
Concerns.
Napasa,
Canada's. Can you hear me?
yeah, actually you were on mute. Please go ahead.
So sorry. Yes. Now, another major thing is housing and labor market concerns. Canada's housing market is facing a major problem, and there is a shortage of about 670,000 homes, which is expected to continue growing until 2027. And to help solve this, the government believes that reducing immigration will ease the pressure on the housing market by lowering the demand of homes, which should actually help make housing more affordable. So,
Yeah.
on the job front, a decline in new immigrants could actually lead to labor shortages as well, especially in industries like construction and healthcare, where immigrants, including many from India, have traditionally filed important roles. So, but yes, however, the government's focus is on attracting high skilled workers, as you mentioned earlier, who can help boost long term economic growth, especially in key sectors.
Yeah.
And reducing immigrants could create challenges in some industries. The overall goal is to improve the housing market and ensure the labor force is better aligned with Canada's long term needs. So you had mentioned earlier about mediocrity, or people who are probably not excelling as much, who are probably just average. But coming back to that, there are so many others in different sectors like healthcare and construction,
Mhm.
who, and we've just seen like how I mean, a major population in these sectors are Indians, and losing them will be really, really. I think it's going to fall heavy on Canada for sure.
Yeah, that's right. And that's how, we have to be ready for that, for all the challenges that might happen, in future. But I think, yeah, so these were some rules, friends, that that we talked about right now. Those were Canada's new immigration rules. And I think we should move ahead and also talk about the reasons that why Canada has implemented these rules and what are the main reason behind this. So firstly, it's housing crisis. So one of the most significant factor, that's driving this decision is Canada's ongoing housing affordability crisis. So immigration, while a key driver of economic growth, we all know that, has contributed a lot to increased demand for housing, and especially in major cities like Toronto and Vancouver. So, in response to concerns about overpricing home prices and then rental cost also, the Canadian government is deciding to opt to reduce the immigration targets so that it will ease the pressure on the housing markets. So by 2027, Canada faces a shortage of 670,000 housing units. And I think because of that, they are predicting that this may be the reason, this can be a huge shortage that Canada may face. That is why they are implementing these rules because of housing affordability crisis. So the government also believes that slowing down the immigration growth will help in reducing the competition for limited housing. So I think Nabasa, this can be a good reason, and this I think for me this is the good reason also, because if there are huge number of immigrants who are not even getting the place to live, place to shelter, then I think that's of no use to just keep on welcoming the immigrants or welcoming the people into your country. So
Right.
I think this is how it should be, right? Otherwise, if the population is more and the resources are less, then I think that reduces the nation, that I would say that decrease the quality of the nation. Because if someone is coming to that country not having the place to live, I think that's the worst thing that anyone can feel about it. So yeah, I think friends, this was the first reason from my side, that was housing crisis. And moving ahead with Nipasa, please go ahead and share the other reason.
I mean, yes, to add to that, we just spoke about, you can only imagine 670,000 homes. I mean, this is a shortage.
Right.
So it's not a small number. It's not like 60 homes less or even 70,000. It's 670,000 homes. There's a shortage for this many homes because they're not able to provide. And I think reducing immigration for sure, it's going to reduce the pressure on Canada as well because there's been a huge demand for homes. And yes, they will have to, I'm sure they have some plans, in the future. Like you said, by 2027 they're probably planning to
Yeah.
construct more homes for that matter.
Right.
All right, so moving on to another main reason for this change in policy is infrastructure and social services strain. So the strain on infrastructure and social services in Canada, happens because as more people move on to the country, the demand for things like healthcare, schools, and transportation also increases. So when too many people arrive too quickly, it can become harder for the government to provide these essential services. And housing included in this. It's not just transportation or healthcare or schools, but even housing being like shelter. It's one of the major factors. One cannot live without food and shelter, right? So I
Right.
think very, very important.
I think that is also that if the schools, if we take example of schools, so if schools also there will be overcrowded, if there are lots and lots of students and there are less teachers, then also this is going to harm the education as well. And if we talk about the healthcare, then if there's a major line for the patients and the doctors are few or the nurses are few, then I think this is also would harm the healthcare sector. So I think
Mhm.
Canada government is taking I would say, a huge step regarding all these things by keeping an eye on these sectors, that how the population, if the population, because there's a huge population of immigrants, right, and the resources are less. So if that is going to continue, then I think all the healthcare sector, the school, the education sector, the transportation, or every sector is going to reduce its quality. And immigrants has to face a huge problem. So I think that can also be the reason behind it. And moving ahead with another reason is also balancing immigration for economic stability. So in this, what happening that Canada values immigration for economic growth, and that's for sure that without immigration, Canada also can't have that economic growth as well. But it wants to make sure, Canada wants to make sure that the people it brings in are the best fit for the country's needs. And I think, Napasa, this is a very logical and a very correct format, that any country should look upon. Because it's not possible just to keep on welcoming thousands of people and to give them resources. Now, day by day, the competitions are increasing, and everyone is on that rat race kind of thing, that I want to have a better life, I want to have a better life. I think so this is the competition, that's never going to get an end. So as the time passes by, I think challenges and opportunities are going to come along the way. And that's what Canada is actually looking upon. So the government in Canada is now focusing on economic class immigrants. This means that those immigrants who can fill the important jobs in areas like healthcare, technology, and construction. So, by adjusting the number of people coming to Canada for permanent residency, the government wants to prioritize these skilled workers who can help in building the economy. So, Canada is now being, more careful and trying to be more concerned about these things. And Canada is trying to be very much, cautious about that who comes in. And Canada is also aiming for those who can make an immediate impact on the economy and improve the overall stability. So I think that's a very correct approach, that how Canada is trying to balance the immigration for economic stability. After all, at the end, it all matters that how well the economy of that country is. So I think this is, from my side, it's a very practical approach towards what Canada governments are thinking upon. And yeah, Napasa, please go ahead and share the other reasons as well.
Yeah, talk about it. I just had a few more points from a recent article I had read.
Yes.
And, of course, Canada's immigration policies are really undergoing a major shift, which are impacting thousands of immigrants, especially Indian nationals. And the government plans to cut permanent residence targets from 500,000 in 2024 to just 395,000 by 2025. And of course, there will be more reductions in the coming years as well. And temporary worker permits will drop by 40%. Means that's like taking away the chance and the opportunity from 40% of people out there who were looking for a future out there in Canada, right? And of course, international students numbers will be capped at about 360,000 annually, affecting one of Canada's largest immigration groups, and that is Indian nationals.
Right.
And these measures, they have aimed addressing housing shortages, like we've been mentioning over and over, and of course, healthcare strain and infrastructure challenges as well. And you know what? Approximately 5 million temporary permits are set to expire, including 766,000 study permits. And yes, without renewals or transitions to permanent residency, thousands of people out there, immigrants out there, are facing deportation or even have to return to home because they can't renew their visa statuses. And for Indian students and workers, this means limited opportunities to stay in Canada, despite their contributions to the economy for all these years. And Canada's labor market, is already struggling with an aging population and low birth rates. They are really facing greater challenges due to these real changes that are happening. So that's there. And coming back to our discussion, Sam. So you spoke about balancing immigration and economic
Yeah.
stability, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the other point is also sustainability in immigration levels. Canada's decision to reduce immigration levels is part of a plan to ensure sustainable growth. And I think that is what we were talking about. You were saying that, just inviting or welcoming all these immigrants and not being able to provide the basic needs such as housing. I mean, shelter is so important, right? And with it, after that comes schooling or education, and following, and with it also comes healthcare. And if they're not able to provide, then why just create a problem for both the parties, for the country or for the immigrants as well? And in recent years, Canada has seen record high immigration numbers, which have contributed to population growth as well. And probably this sudden growth in population was why they were facing such challenges in these different sectors, especially housing and education and healthcare. So yes, the government wants to make sure that the country's resources, and infrastructure can keep up with the growing population. And this is one of the major reasons why there is this change in policy. And if too many people come in too quickly without enough resources to support them, it could really lower the quality of life for everyone,
Right.
both for the newcomers and the people who are already living in Canada, because it'll be like they're fighting for what is available, right? For the resources that are available. And yeah, by slowing down, immigration a bit, the government is trying to ensure that Canada's system can continue to provide a good standard of living for everyone, which is so important.
Absolutely. And also, Napasa, as we are talking about the resources and the population, now I want to know your point of view that what do you think that if there's a huge population in a country, so is it going to make that nation a better one or is it going to break that nation? I mean, what do you think? How much population term is, population has important role in one's nation.
I mean, the more the population, I think the lesser attention they're getting. I mean, the lesser the population, each member or each person can be given good attention. I mean, it can be like you can just take a classroom for example. I always take a classroom for example. Why? I don't know, but I mean, if there are 100 students and if
Yeah.
there are 10 students, definitely the 10 students classroom is going to perform better than the 100 students. Probably, I don't know, but but for sure, these 10 people classroom are going to get more attention than proper attention, and they're going to be provided as much. They can cater to all these 10 as easily, but maybe not to those 100 people. So it's, I think, like that.
Right. That's
I would beg
true.
to differ. Hi, Sam and
Hi,
Nipasa.
Rasha. Hi.
So I think I would like to disagree with, I mean, what Nipasa said is
Okay.
somewhere right also. But then what I feel is, your population game can also be taken in a positive way. If you talk about, let's say, we can take examples. We can talk about India and China. So if you
Mhm.
talk about India and China, we know the importance. I mean, forget India right now, let's talk about China first. So if you talk about China, China has always been that superpower, even though after being, the most populated country. It was, I think now India has taken the number one spot, but earlier China was in the number one
Yeah.
spot. But it has always been, a superpower. And why? Because they had that population, and they had that market, right? And because of that, and that's why every other country, whether it was US or whether any country we can take, they wanted to get in so that they can capture the market, so that they can get into the market. And now same thing is also happening with India, because they have, such bigger population, such larger population. I think the government needs to have a system. If you have the right kind of government, then it can also empower that, and it can also completely change the game, right? So now if you talk about India, earlier I think in 2014 it was at the number 10 spot in the being the largest economy in the world. Now it has come to the fifth spot, of being the largest economy in the world, the biggest economy in the world. It has defeated so many countries, and it has come to the fifth spot. So what I feel is, it the only thing which has helped India in this is somewhere its population game. Why? Because the market is so huge. The people are so many that everybody wants to come and want to get into this market, and um, you know want to actually make things reachable to the Indian population. So even if we talk about, let's take a very small example, social media. Earlier, people were not interested in, making content apart from their own country. Now, if you see the people from the outside countries, they are also making content, keeping in mind the Indian population. They are making content for Indian population also. They are using that kind of music to promote their videos, to promote their shorts, to promote their reels, because they know that if it reaches India and if it reaches the Indian population, it's going to have its impact. It's going to get the lots and lots of number of views, and lots of number of likes. And this is the reason, their videos could become viral, or their so ultimately, to sum it up, I would like to say that I think if you have the right kind of system, your population will, I don't think so, it will make a difference. I think your system and your government should be on the right track, should be on the right path. And if you're good for your people, and if you think right about your country, and you have a path to follow, then I don't think so population is going to make a difference.
That
And
is much agreed. I mean, sorry, I'm saying Sam because I'm so used to talking to her, Rajni. Like,
Mhm.
but what Canada is doing right now, it's not about like getting likes or it's of course that is also there. Maybe getting likes or maybe having a better economic I don't know plans or etc. But right now, what Canada is facing is major housing problem.
Mhm.
So if they cannot cater to everyone, then what's the point of bringing in? And it's also creating like sort of a chaos I mean, for people who are already living out there in Canada. So the government is taking this decision because they're not able to provide right now, and they're planning to build in more infrastructure, maybe more houses, and that is in next 2 years by 2027.
Yeah.
So I think then they will start increasing again, welcoming more immigrants. But
You know
right now,
what?
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what you said is actually very true and very, very right, Sam, Nepa. So you know why I'm saying that? Because I think this is where the government is lacking, not the population. It has nothing to do
Yes.
with the population game. It has to do with the government and their ideas, what they are trying to pitch in. Because let me talk about the healthcare system. If you look at the
Mhm.
healthcare system also, then so many, like the richest countries in the world, they don't have a good healthcare system, or if US being the richest country in the world, if you look at their healthcare system, they sometimes face so many problems with their healthcare system.
Right.
And if you look at India, we have I mean, the largest population, the biggest population, India has the biggest population in the world, right? But then they have this long history of losing lives to diseases. So many diseases came, so many lives it took. So now, and why it happened? Because families were simply, they couldn't afford the care that they needed. So
Right.
over
Right.
time, that the government, recognized this harsh reality, and then they took these steps to address it. So, they made the healthcare accessible to everyone through public
Hmm.
hospitals. Now, if you go to any public hospital, any government hospital, you can, by paying few cents, if you talk in rupees, then you can simply get, um, you can get a consultation with a doctor in under 10 rupees or 5 rupees or 20 rupees. Okay, it might not happen in private hospitals, but I'm talking about the public hospitals, which the government has made accessible to everybody. Whether you're rich, whether you're poor, you can simply go
Hmm.
and get yourself consulted there with the doctors. And then they have also taken care, they have also introduced these programs like Ayushman Bharat, where they have um, under, I think, 60 or above 60 or above 70, they have given this opportunity to the generation above 60 years old, where they can, under, I think, under 5 lakh rupees or under 10 lakh rupees, everything, if they want their treatment to be done, if they are facing any problem, any health issue, by just having that Ayushman Bharat card, you know the your it will be taken care by the government. Basically, you will not have to pay anything for the
Yes.
senior citizens. I'm talking about the senior citizens, right?
Right.
But
Yeah.
then, meanwhile, in the US, what is happening is, it's one of the richest nations in the world. Then the healthcare cost, and the high cost, and the complicated insurance also, it has
Hmm.
leave, millions and millions of people, uh, either they are struggling to pay, or they are completely avoiding it altogether. You can
Hmm.
simply look at COVID also. I think we have also spoken to a lot of attorneys, where they said that their COVID booster shots were, I think, $200 per shot.
I
Yes.
I
Yeah.
think so. Yeah.
And where in India, it was completely free of cost. We simply had to go to, I think, Indians, they simply had to go to a nearby, yeah, vaccination center and get them vaccine, right?
Right.
So I think it all boils down to the government and having the right kind of system. So
Right.
if you have, and talk about, that if you talk about India, then they also have this Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, where they are building houses for poor people. Everybody who is in poverty, who's living in poverty, who don't have funds above there's some uh, uh, I don't know, some number. If you're not
Hmm.
able to earn above that, and if you don't have houses, they are giving houses, and they are, and so many, I think somewhere around 20 crore, 20 million or 10 million. I'm not exactly sure about the figure, but then for those people, the government has also built the houses
Hmm.
from their own money. So I think it all comes down to the government, and how they are leading, and what steps they are taking. So
Right.
the population or the people don't really have to do it. I think that's why, because they, anyways, the people are paying taxes,
Right.
Mhm.
right?
I think, yeah, what you said is much, much agreeable, because if you talk about population, that means they have the manpower, whether it's for
Exactly.
construction or building more infrastructure to provide all these overpopulation that is suddenly coming into the country. So of course for that the government has to think, and they'll have to change and come in with new policies. But right now these new rules have actually turned the game upside down, I guess. Rajni, I wish it could happen according to us, or according to maybe
What the people are
how,
wishing for. Yeah.
yeah, or what, maybe take examples from India as well. But it's not happening right now because these
Yeah.
changes are very recent, and it's really causing, I mean, what has happened?
Um,
Reducing
mhm.
So
immigrants to the country
no,
is
no,
what.
absolutely. And Nepa, if I talk about this, immigrant issue, especially with Indian immigrants out there in Canada, I think we have so many issues because I think what the government is not taking care of. I think the people are really upset with the government right now, with Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, and people are they have the elections next year. I think people are hoping that they will have a new government and maybe they are going to take the country forward in a better way because now if you look at Canada's situation. So you must also be aware of about the Khalistani movement, right?
Right.
I don't know if I should talk about it here or not, but then it is since we are talking about Canada, I think we should address this also. It's a separatist movement, that's been around since 1980s, and the major goal of that movement was so that independent they can create an independent state called Khalistan, and which they wanted to be carved out of Punjab in India. But then over time, they the movement, it lost its momentum in India, but it remained active in some sections of this diaspora. I mean, so many countries, Canada, UK, Australia, and now Canada. If you look at, there have been, I think, a good percentage of the Sikh people, and things there are pretty intense. Whoever is supporting that movement and supporting that ideology, so they are organizing these events and parades and rallies. They are glorifying this movement, and then tension is happening between the Indian government and the Canadian government. So, India has always, I mean, is pushing Canada to take action against Khalistani groups operating there because they are, right in front of the Indian embassy in Canada. What they are doing is they are chanting anti-India slogans. They are tearing down the flags of India. They are, with their slippers, they have the posters or the boards of Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and they are doing things which should not be done to that posters. They are hitting that poster with their slippers and with their shoes. So many things. So of course, so Indian government is pushing Canada to take action against these groups, operating there, and they're accusing them of spreading anti-India propaganda. And then they have also accused of funding or planning like terrorist activities back in India. So, but then Canada, if you look at Canada and Canadian government, they are calling it freedom of speech, and they are saying it's freedom of speech, and they are saying because they live here, so they can do, because it's freedom of speech, we cannot do anything about it. So
Mhm.
then, so Justin Trudeau, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, during a speech in 2024, he also said this, that that India is actually interfering in Canadian politics, and it even suggested that India might be involved in killing of a prominent Khalistani activist in Canada. You must have heard the name,
Yeah.
Hardeep Singh Nijjar. So this was like
Mhm.
a very big deal,
Yeah.
and because it doesn't happen every day that a country accuses another country of something like this. Then India actually responded, and India was, of course, it if somebody's accusing you of something, you will get furious, right? So India got furious, and then Indian government dismissed the claims, and it completely called it absurd, and it said that it's politically motivated because they have their elections coming in the next year, so they want to
Keep the environment peaceful.
no, not keep the environment peaceful, but they want to actually
Mhm.
not keep this group of people happy, so that it can, they can gain in politics, they can gain in elections, so
Yes,
they can
because they're a
favor.
major population out there
They
in
are
Canada, and they've
yeah,
been living there for decades now,
right.
generations.
They can
Yeah.
verify them. That's why.
So, but then India said that, they pointed out that this Nijjar guy, he was a terrorist in India, and Canada was harboring him, right? So then India accused, Canada accused, so many things happened. So then India actually suspended visas for Canadian citizens, and this was a very bold move. So then this ultimately, a lot of things happen. I'm sure you all must be following the
And
news.
when did this happen? Like when India canceled the visas of Canadians?
2024, just very recently, when this all this things was happening. So then, India has actually taken a no nonsense approach, and they are saying, if you're sheltering these terrorists, then don't expect us to stay silent, because they actually want a part of our country to be completely made into another state or another country. So, and then if you're sheltering them or harboring them, so don't expect us to stay silent. Then Canada, is trying to now seem to calm things down, but it hasn't really made any changes or anything with how they're handling these groups. So now this ultimately what has happened is, the situation has become very messy, and people like Indians living in Canada are really living under stress now.
Mm,
So what's been happening out there is, some Indians are actually feeling like they are being judged or labeled based on their background. Like if you're a Sikh, then and if you don't support Khalistan, then you are suddenly being questioned about your loyalties, right? And if
mm,
yeah, and if you're not Sikh, and you might feel like people are lumping you into like anti-Sikh camp just because you are Indian. So there's a divide happening, and then fear mongering is also happening. Then there was these attacks which happened in some temple, like Hindu temple out there in Canada. So many things actually happened. Then there were reports of pro Khalistani groups, getting louder and more aggressive in their protests. And some Indian students also said that they were feeling very unsafe walking these near these rallies or events, and they were really worried that if they would speak out against this movement or even say something neutral, then they might be targeted online or in person, and they don't know what might happen with them because they are in a completely foreign land, right? So then it is, of course, it is affecting visas and travel. So things like that is actually
It's only
happening.
natural, yes. It's only natural to be affected because of all these riots and so many other people involved. And if you talk about Canada, like Canada, they say there is a mini India in there because there's so
Yeah.
many Indians,
Hmm.
like probably half of the population or even more in some areas. And
9.1 million Indians are there, Indian
so can you,
Americans. So
yeah.
that's a
And
huge.
yes, and when you talk about politics or this, I mean, there are so many things out there across the world, or for decades, or for generations and generations now. They always use religion. I don't know if I should say use religion, but they
They do, they do. I
define
mean, it's pretty evident. It's out
yeah,
there, right? Politics, all these things happen, and they try to
yes.
create rift between the society and between communities so that they can gain out of that.
Yes, but I mean, I'm just talking in general, okay? Like my generation or our generation, people or the younger generation, we are so, I mean, religion neutral, right? We respect all religions. We, of course, follow whatever we are taught, but we also follow what we see. Like Christmas is coming up. Probably some of us, though we are not Christians, we have a star in our house.
Celebrate.
We have lit up our house. We have a Christmas tree. We know the Santa story. We love gifts, presents, and we're so neutral about religion or anything for that matter. But when it comes to politics, they really use it against
They
the
want to pick
people,
us.
try to divide it.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
want actually to us to pick a side, which we don't
yeah,
want to do.
yeah,
Right.
which we don't want to do. We actually respect all religion. We respect people from all walks of life, belonging to different cultures. We know us, and it's become like a global village, right? We can't just say we are just like an Indian because, or like we are an American. We can't just say that because we are all in one. We are,
Of
yeah.
course.
It's like we are like a global citizen nowadays. So I
No,
don't know. I
absolutely,
don't like
Napasa.
that at all. I wish it did not exist so much, or but it's happening and it's affecting so many lives.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It is. I mean, it's
And
sad.
I think Rajni and Apasa, the one who plays a major role in creating the drifts between the religions. I think the leaders, the one who is leading the nation, the one who is leading the country, because everything is on their hand. They have the authority to make their nation, to break their nation, and I think it feels so sad. Someone tries to use religion as a puppet and to have, I mean, to play that thing and to
Killing
create,
in the name of religion, we've been hearing, they've
and to
lost so many
create,
lives.
yeah, to create hostile relation between people, to make them against each other. I think these are the things, if government is trying to like impose some policy or try to be little strict, I think these things can be changed. It all depends on the government, because obviously that nation belongs to that government, and what the government is going to take the decision, that's what the citizens have to follow.
Yeah.
So until and unless, I think governments are, they are more responsible. If the nation are deteriorating, they are the one, who should be responsible for this, because they are not strict, they are lenient, they are letting their citizens to work instead of, working on themselves. They are trying to work on some religion kind of thing, some caste kind of thing, so it's just a waste of time and it will lead to nothing. But still they are just allowing them, and they are also trying to increase these hostile relations more and more by giving some aggressive speeches, by showing some different videos. So these all news, spread like anything, spread like fire, and creates so much difference in that particular nation. So yeah, that's from my side.
Just, I mean, I think this is
So I think,
not
it's,
on the topic.
if
I just
I
wanted
if I would like to,
okay,
if I may. So it's all, it's a Game of Thrones. Everybody's here to be on that throne and to have that power. So whatever
sucker for
that,
power.
yeah. So whatever that they can do in their capacity, they are going to do, because they ultimately have to win that Game of Thrones, and they want to sit on it, and you know um,
Real.
make the world run in their fingertips. So
Hmm.
it's all about that. We are thinking as layman's, we can think and we can wish whatever that we wish for. Christmas is also coming, so guys, you can wish whatever that you want to wish for. But then ultimately everything and everything is done by the people in power, right?
Right.
And I don't think so they care about it at all, because if they did, I don't think so things like this would be happening in the world, right?
Unfortunately, yeah, they don't care
I
about it.
mean, yeah, they don't. And it's so sad. I mean, they just treat these, I don't know, religious, whether it's a temple or a church, burning them down, demolishing them just in the name of a riot or just to prove something that is so, I don't know. It's such a loss, a loss of history, I would say. But I mean, this is out of the topic, I guess. But do you think Rajni and Sam, like, the world would be a more peaceful place without religion?
What do you have to say, Sam?
World, if we consider world, then I think, yeah, it may be.
I don't think so. I think
Really?
religion was. I think why religion was introduced is so that the society can have a structure. That they should know what's right and what's wrong, what they follow. You don't necessarily have to believe that what you follow is the right path, but you should know that hurting somebody is wrong, and killing someone, hurting somebody is wrong, and taking care of somebody is the right thing to do. And this is what religions actually told us. This is what, and religions were actually created so that the societies could be structured, right?
But now
And
it's taking some other part. Earlier it used to be a very beautiful kind of thing, but now it's,
always, say it's
yeah.
since the time it began. So I don't think so, because if don't people don't have religion, they will not have the fear of what's right and what's wrong. People will start killing people and think, oh, maybe it's right, because they believe it's right. And this is what religion actually told us. So to live in a society, I think religion is necessary, but not believing that what I am doing is the right path or what they are doing is completely wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.
They should
It
believe,
should be cordial.
yeah,
We should have that
believe in
respect for
what you are
religion.
believing, but also respect everyone, like Nipasa and you were saying, right? So
Yeah,
follow what you are following. You should have faith. You should follow what you are doing, but you should not be forcing other people that this is how the world should also live, because this is the path that this is how I live. Because I like cats, so you should also like cats. I like dogs, so you should also like dogs. You can like elephants or lions, right?
Yeah, anyone
Yeah,
can
that's
have their
there.
own choice.
That's there. But yeah, I think
There should be a
sometimes I
sense
feel
of
like
right
it
and wrong.
divides us all too much unnecessarily. There's already like we already belong to different cultures who are also talking about so many positive things, and I think
I
almost
think,
similar things, just like religion does.
Nipa, I think,
But
this was, I think that this wasn't done by religion. This was actually done by the people themselves. After they started believing what I am doing is the right thing, and everybody else should also do the same
yeah,
thing.
no, I
I
mean,
think this
I'm
is,
not talking. Yeah, that is there, and that is done by the people. I'm not talking. I'm not saying that churches or priests in churches or temples teach us that. Not at all. But I'm just saying, like, if religion did not exist at all, if because we all belong to different cultures, and we all have different teachings from cultures. Okay, I'm talking about being you belonging to your culture, forgetting that religion part. Okay, I don't know if you'll get it, but. I think we will have to keep that topic for another day because it's going to
We
get.
take an hour.
it's completely going in some other direction. But yeah,
Yeah.
I know what you're trying to say. But then this is what I believe in. I feel that if it was, if it is
I
here,
mean,
then
even
it
your
it
name
was
for that
here for
matter,
some reason.
yeah.
If it's here, if the religion, if the religions are here, or whatever that is here, it's here for some or the other reason, then people should live because because ultimately every religion, says that everybody should live in peace, that humanity is the biggest religion. I think every religion says this, right? So then after so many other things,
What about culture? Doesn't your culture say that?
every other culture says that, right?
Exactly. I'm saying that only like the culture. I mean, the culture you belong to is already giving you so much good. How to say?
Nepal, where did the culture come from?
What I don't understand. Well, it's always been there, right? Religion was created by people.
No, but
Well,
culture came from religion only, right?
No, not
So
at all.
cultures are like how we celebrate, how we do, right? We can celebrate it however we want. But how that celebration also that depends upon our religion, some on the other, isn't it?
No,
Please,
no.
then please tell me what it is.
Culture is
yeah, Nepal,
totally different.
before we wrap it up, if you can please give us the difference so that you know.
No, I'll just say like a name for example. Okay, I mean, you may belong to different cultures, but if you and you may have a different name. Okay, belonging to that culture.
Mm-hmm,
But suppose you became a Christian, you will have to have a Christian name, or you will have to have a Hindu name, or a Muslim name for that matter.
mm-hmm.
Right. I mean, it's just that. And that already is creating so much difference. But if it did not exist at all, I feel like there would, I mean, there's just so much unnecessary division with religion. That is what I was trying to say. And I never say that, like, culture didn't teach what religions are already teaching. They have already been teaching the good only.
Yeah, what you're saying is also right. Culture actually taught people how to live in harmony, how to live peacefully, right?
They learn so
And
much from nature. Yeah,
yeah,
everything.
but then people created, yeah, then religion grew actually out of culture. What you're saying is also right, but then, Nipa, the question comes, why are we here? What are we here for? What is our purpose? I think that's where then religion
Yeah,
also
and that
came, that
also
if you
is not
follow this, if you
defined by
follow
our
that.
religion.
Uh-huh.
What we are here for is also not defined by our religion at all, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's a very unnecessary entity that has been just creating a lot of division, and people created it maybe for good reasons, but what it has become, or what people in power are making use of it, has become a total different way altogether. It's creating more disaster than it would be without it existing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Well, I think we will have to take this topic for maybe some other day, and maybe
Some
we can
other time,
discuss. Yeah,
probably in
maybe
another
we
channel,
can.
not immigration.
Yeah,
For sure.
right, right.
But yeah, I
So,
mean, we
guys, you
spoke
can
about
wrap it
Canada,
up.
and we spoke a lot about, the Sikh community there. So it just came out. So, I mean, no offense really to whoever's watching. I mean, these are all ideas and these are all personal thoughts. So I really hope that we did not offend anyone. And I'm really not against any religion at all. I just respect everyone. I just wish there could be more peace, with or without it.
Absolutely. And that's how we all should be. We all should be respecting each other's religion and should be secular about it. But I think we completely shifted our conversation from something else, and that was also very important, and that made up our minds in a very different zone right now. But coming back to today's topic, friends, we have discussed a very important topic today. That's Canada's new immigration rules and how tough it is blowing for thousands of Indian immigrants. So that's it for today. We also have covered a lot of information, a lot of different rules, and also the reasons why it's implementing, and also how it's going to impact Indian immigrants too. So I think we have completed all the topic and all the points that we plan to cover in this session. We successfully covered those. And we would also like to say thank you to all our lovely viewers and to each one of you who has joined us from any platform, whether it's YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, or Twitter as well. We are grateful to have you guys, and also to our viewers who comment us. And we are so sorry we couldn't take your comments, but soon we are definitely going to take them up for the next session as well. So guys, keep on commenting, and it's lovely having you all. And anything, Napasta, any end note that you would like to share with our viewers on today's session?
I think that's all, for today's daily immigration dose. In fact, yes, Canada's new immigration rules are, undoubtedly a major shift for Indian immigrants, especially. But it's really crucial to stay informed and seek expert advice to plan your next steps. So I would always say, we have amazing attorneys joining us here on Immigration and Jobs Talk Show, with who we have amazing webinars, and you could have a one-on-one consultation with any of the attorneys we have, and they could guide you best. So do follow us, check us out, check our content. I'm sure you're going to benefit a lot, because it's all about immigration and about jobs and your plans, your dreams, maybe whether it's to go live in America. And today we spoke about Canada. Of course, I mean, we are mainly dealing with the US immigration and US jobs. So do check us out. And yes, if you resonated with our content, don't forget to also like and subscribe, hit that bell icon, so that whenever we have discussions like these, you can also be notified. And we would love you to join us, just come in and tell us what you really think, because this is the platform where it's open for all kinds of perspective. So I think that's it for today.
Yeah, and I think, guys, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Immigration and Jobs Talk Show. We'll be coming back again from Monday to Friday, streaming live at 4 p.m. EST with another very exciting episode on daily immigration dose. So, yeah, please go ahead, join us. And till now, me and Napasa are signing off for now. So, thank you so much, everyone.
Bye, have a good day.